Hey there, gamers. Welcome back to Cryptic Gaming. I hope everyone's been having a wonderful morning. We're going to get started here with a live stream. Make sure all of our stuff is situated. We throw us up a thumbnail so you can find us. But I hope you've been enjoying the Corvette as much as I have. There's a few things I'm hoping to see it get tweaked on it, like some of the handling and things like that. But they'll get all that worked out. So if you were watching our live stream last couple of days, we've been working on a electric build. Now I'm going to be finishing that off, but I'm also switching over a little bit on some things. I'm going to try a torpedo build that I've been kind of messing around with too. So this is one of the things whenever you get a new ship, you have to play around with it, test things out, check out the new weaponry that they have, and try to bring you the best builds possible so you're not spending a bunch of upgrade parts and ascension modules and things like that on stuff that isn't going to work for you. So definitely make sure you check out the main hub there in YouTube. You'll be able to find that build on the Storm Tongue, and I'm going to get this here going. Looks like we'll use that thumbnail. That looks pretty good. Okay, and there we go. Let's get this saved. Okay, we are good to go. Now, anytime you're going to start a build, make sure that you save the current build if it's something you like. And you don't have to build as many ships that way. I'm going to show you how to do that tonight. But first, I'm going to give you a tip of the evening. I will start trying to do this at the beginning or the end of the video, depending on when I remember to give it to you. But first and foremost, we're going to come over here. If you've ever been out here at sea and you're sailing around anywhere, say you're out, you just finished a Kraken build or Kraken battle, you're out here, you're away from everything. Well, there is a way now that you can actually fast travel to any location, including your dens and things, by using the seasonal journey. So what you want to do is come over here. The very first one you want to open is going to be down this way. And you want to do the cartographer's guide. This allows you to unlock fast travel to any valid outpost or den from the sea while not in combat. So you can't be in combat, you can't have an aggro on it, but this is going to give you some help that way. So I'm also taking in just kind of I'm not really too focused in on this at the moment. There's a few things. Obviously, I wanted to get this one here first. It seemed like it was 500 guild marks, if I recall correctly. And let's see, we do flooding as well, so we're going to do this one here next. But you'll notice that each tree, so like this one here, weapons boost, this is your basic boost to some weapons. All deck weapons, your culverin type weapons, and of course your demi cannon weapons as well on this first tree. So you want to make sure that you run it. It'll give you a mission to run. Now all of these missions, they may not seem like familiar titles, but it's things we did last season and seasons before that, running out the bosses, running out the old bounties and things like that, any of the sea monsters, running all those out, they're going to be hidden in behind. Every tree is going to be hidden in behind something like that. Uh, well, it just proved me wrong over there. So this would here be like the Spectre Defense. You got to run the Roadman Godin, and let's see what we got over here. So these weapon boosts here look like they open up pretty quick. I'm not seeing anything hiding in the way there. We do have to get this one here done at some point. But again, I'm testing my weapons before I get all these boosts because I want to see what they actually do, because not everybody runs this seasonal pass. I understand that, and the seasonal journey, I guess we should say. And I want to make sure that we're building good builds that everyone can enjoy, regardless of where you're at on that journey pass there. So, okay, with that having been said, when you go into your builds, make sure that you save the current build that you have when you go into your ship loadout. You'll have an arsenal loadout here, and you will then save your location. So I'm on PlayStation. I've already done it. I just called it the Corvette Tongue because it's got that Storm Tongue on it. And what you would do is you would save to it. So it would be holding for Xbox, or I'm sorry, for PlayStation 5. It would be holding the square button to save. Once you save it, then you would hit the big pad in the center of the console to change the name of it, and that'll save that. You can do the same thing with your cosmetics. I typically just leave the cosmetic the same on any build of it. Doesn't bother me too much either way, but you have ship cosmetics and of course the cosmetic loadouts. So what I'm going to be doing now is coming in here and changing out a few of the things that will make this ship a little more viable for torpedo build. So the first and foremost, I'm going to leave the Storm Tongue here on the front. I'm going to jump over here and change out my broadsides, Now I've been working on some extensions for the wound collar here, so we're going to put one there. We're going to come down here and grab this other one. Now, the reason I'm using this wound collar is when you're fighting the Kraken, it works for any sea monster, by the way, and a lot of the anything that you're going to actually fire at. So what this does is this creates a taunt perk, then it creates a unlucky taunt, which causes 250 damage per second. It can be stacked up to 5 times, meaning that you're hitting it and you keep gripping this thing. So, but first you have to taunt it. It will actually add taunt on there by putting on, so you have the provoking perk on here. We've got arming and flooding 3. We went ahead and added firepower. Roar is going to add to that taunt. Now I want to god roll those. I got to wait, get the ascension modules for that. But that's kind of what I'm building here on these torpedoes. And then on the auxiliary, I was using the Eye of Heaven with that other build. I want to change that out though. There is a crouching tiger. I think I may have one that is partially ascended already. Let's see. Yeah, it's going to be on another ship. Okay, so we have a crouching tiger here. We're going to go ahead and grab this and throw it on there. Now, for those who don't know, this taunts the enemy, so we'll be able to taunt that head and be causing damage to it as well, because your mortars will reach over there a little easier, and they do a really good job of causing a special effect. So let's throw this here on. This is going to require some upgrades. Let's go check and see. I know there's a lot of upgrades we can roll in using just spare parts. Unless you just get a really awesome upgrade or a really awesome roll, obviously it's going to start to cost the ascension modules once you get to that point. So let's go to ascend. We'll bump over to our ship tab here. Crouching tiger. Let's throw on some stuff. See what we can get. So I'm just kind of wanting to grab Raider perks down here on this. I think anything that's going to boost that taunt effect. Let's see what we have here. Yeah, there it is, the Raider perk. So that's what I'm really looking at. Rapid reload, we may actually leave that on there. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what I did wrong there. Hang on, I think I just hit the wrong button. Okay, so this is going to require ascension modules for these next two, which is fine. So we need 5 and then 7, and then it'll just go to basic rolls. So we're going to have to come back and hit that shortly. But that's kind of what I'm looking at. Now, I haven't decided on this Bombard 5 on the rear. I don't really use it too much anyway. There's no ships over there. But it does come in handy to smack some ships, and you can leave it on here and get some really nice stuff. Now, what we need to do is go check our furnitures as well here on our ship, because obviously we've been running electric weapons, so it's time to change that out just a little bit here. I want to focus in on these torpedoes. I will be keeping the armor as the Mantle of the Deep just because it does such a great job of mitigating the sea monster damage. Now, this armor is not very viable when you're just going out doing sea hunts and stuff, so make sure you keep your other armor on hand so you can throw it on if you're just going to go out sailing around and things like that. I guess I could show what we've rolled on it. Let's see. We put the Stout perk, Survivor, and Fortitude on here, so we managed to get some decent ones. There's nothing really great about any of them, but it does help a little bit. We may go in and increase that break strength some more, but it is nice to have that whole health heal of 18.4% for 10 seconds. That's actually pretty nice in here. It does a really good job, too, especially whenever you get smacked by this thing. Pretty nice, so. Okay, so we have Blubber Works. We're definitely going to keep that on here. Going to lose the charge stores. Let's go find us something for our torpedoes. It's going to be... Yep, not looking for that one. Yeah, I may have all my torpedo stuff on another build as well, so we may have to get to playing around with that because I've been playing with these torpedoes for quite a bit. See, tuning station, we're going to throw that on here. The Hubach tuning rack for torpedoes, we'll throw that on here. I don't think Spirit Locker's torpedo now. I've not noticed any burning coming off of the enemy, so I don't see any need for that. It does have that. It's supposed to be some kind of caustic ink. It basically works like a toxic perk, so I may put something on the ship to help with some of that as well. But this here, the decoy deck, this is going to increase the charge rate of Tana status on effective at enemy by 7%, increases your threat generation, which means you're going to be the target, though, whenever you have that on there. So it's going to be up to you if you want to throw that on. But it's going to, for every target that receives taunted status effect by your ship, increases the incoming repair amount by 5%. So that would really be good for you as a player if you have a team that's doing some heals. Let's keep looking now. Piercing weapons. Nope. It's going to be increasing the damage of front and back weapons. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that on there. The reason I'm throwing that on there is because that front weapon does a lot of really good damage against the eye. Uh, your torpedoes in wave 2, when it sinks down, about, I don't know, a third of the way back from the front of the head. If you look, you'll just see a red dot that's just barely under the water. That's what you're going to aim at with your torpedoes, guys. In the other phase, first phase, when he's up above the water, you can keep shooting torpedoes, but you're better off serving your crew by hitting the tentacles with those torpedoes because it causes them to retract. You start getting that 250 damage per second. That applies to the entire Kraken, by the way. Uh, but it keeps the tentacles from smacking all the ships around, and they can start getting some really good shots in. So I do recommend throwing that on your ship as well. So this anatomy cabinet, I may leave it on here. It reduces damage done by brace strength sea monster attacks. So I think that's going to be a pretty good one to have on here, obviously, because we're fighting sea monsters. Then, of course, we've got to change out the trunnion to something special here. See what we can find. Crew attack now. Flooding weapons. I don't imagine you're going to be doing any flooding to a Kraken, so I don't really see putting that on there. I may throw a secret cache on here just for the turning ability. I'm not sure. There's something going on with some of the turning. At least it was this morning. They may have fixed it. They've come in and they've fixed a lot of issues. If you were watching the other day when the past first release, I was telling you it seemed like the smuggler points were paying out way too fast because we were earning like 6 every time we'd run a plunder. They have fixed that now, so it's back to where it should be as far as working. Unfortunately, I had already completed my pass now, and I don't really have a whole lot of stuff to do other than to start building ships, so it's back to the grind with that. Let's see. We could do this Ramrod workshop. It's going to decrease the reload time of our broadside, so that could be nice. And we'll just try that and see where it leads us there. But this is looking like it's going to be a pretty decent build. Now, what I want to do is make sure I've got all the ammo I'm going to need. So I need torpedoes for sure on this thing. Now, I try not to pull out of my warehouse. I just come buy some more, and then when I don't use when I'm using the ship, it'll always go back in the stockpile. That way, I have plenty of cannonballs, plenty of torpedoes, and any other type of ammunition that you may need. All right, so that there. Let's now jump over here to Talak Panjar. We'll visit over there and grab us some more torpedoes, and then we're going to jump over here and test this build out on the Kraken. Now, you're not going to single-handedly take the Kraken out. I just haven't seen it yet. That may be something that happens later in the game. But what you want to do is you want to be doing a bulk of the damage. You want to be doing your part for sure. And this seems to do it. We actually were able to get the Kraken down to about 3/8. It's just some random people I jumped in with earlier today testing this thing out some. But I didn't have all the furniture put on it yet. And I'm hoping that this thing is going to help us be able to complete it. Now, there's been a few people in the Discord group that have completed it. As far as their builds, I'm not really sure what they're using yet. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. We're going to grab us some of these. We'll grab us some water barrels real quick because that's always nice to get out of the way. Then, of course, that torpedo crate. Now, let's just double check, see what we've got. See if we've got too much crap on here. So cannonballs, bombards, and mortars need all of that. And we're good on food, we're good on kits. Don't need those with it. Let's move to the warehouse. Okay, loading into our Kraken here. I really wish that they had brought out the teams of 5 so you could bring all 5 of your teammates in, or however many you have. But unfortunately, you can do 3, but then it's just kind of random. You may or may not see the other groups that come into it. Yeah, okay. Well, we've got, I guess it's been going a minute and a half in, so. Now, I've heard from the ones that finish this, they have usually between 45 seconds to a minute and 45 seconds left on the clock when they actually beat it. So, obviously, we're going to have to make sure that this happens quick. I'm only seeing, there's a few ships coming into focus now. Okay, we should be okay. I don't think we've wasted time. It'll be okay. I won't get too close. As you see, we can hit weak points in the back of the tentacle, so when you get a chance to strike the back of the tentacle, make sure you strike it if you can. Does a pretty good job of sending that tentacle back. These torpedoes do. Now what we're doing is, I'm really aiming for the tentacle, but it looks like we're going to get a few to the head. And watch for your other players. You want to be intercepting your shots down there. Okay, we're headed to wave 2. Get out of the center, because that's usually where the head's going to be at. Gotta move over to the edge. Now, right back here, where I'm shooting that cannon at, there is a weak spot that you can hit with the torpedoes. But keep in mind, you're going to be dealing with tentacles the whole time. They will sit there and poke straight up at you. You got to kind of watch for the red circle. And keep moving, because you don't want to be sitting still, because that thing will nail you. And this here, we might be able to get the taunt effect applied to him using that mortar there. Now that we're a little closer. I'm cutting back away from full trim. That way I can not use as much of my brace. You see that eye that popped over there? So that's what we're aiming for, is that little spot right there, straight in. It's like some kind of ink producer or something like that. That is the weak spot that we're going to try to aim for. But he's he's got to be down in the water. You notice he'll raise up, but you're still doing damage. I will say it seems like we do a little more damage hitting the tentacles, so I will focus in on tentacles if I have to. Corvette's definitely handling a lot better than it did this morning, so they've done some work to it, which is good. Again, even if the head's not out, aim for tentacle, because that's still doing damage. Try to stagger your shots if you can, because that tentacle will return back to that spot. Looks like we're headed to phase 3 here. Check out our timer. 3 minutes. Don't think it's going to happen. Just to taunt that tentacle there. Got carried by some Garudas? Yeah. I've heard if you play it enough times, you'll end up getting the right matchup of ships. But like I say, I'm more or less checking out some of the builds. I know a lot of the guys in Discord are kicking out some builds and building some stuff that sounds like it's going to be pretty. Well, I think the main thing that we're trying to get out of this thing is going to be some kind of eye or a pearl or something like that. What it sounded like to me. That's going to be used for the mythic upgrades later, whenever they decide to release it. Now, see that road, just like you're hitting a handbrake, turning to the right, there's a tentacle there, so that causes that sometimes, but it doesn't always happen. See that rare drop, you didn't get it? Well, doggone. Okay, we've got a tentacle causing a whirlpool here somewhere. We've got to find that thing. Well, whatever it takes to get out of the whirlpool, but I don't think we're going to get it this time around. You really need a coordinated team, at least 3 really good guys that know exactly where to hit. I mean, we've got a rocket firing that's not hitting anything over there. That poor Garuda over there, he's not getting much help. We need to get around to the backside out of all this whirlpool crap. So that's what we're going to try to do here. You can sometimes get a little bit better view of what's going on in the background. 6 seconds left. Well, unfortunately, it didn't happen for us. But how that tentacle works, actually was a bad mechanic in this game that was causing the Corvette to just randomly do that when you weren't even in battle with this thing. So it seems like they've done a good job of getting that routed out and fixed. Alright, well, unfortunately, we didn't quite make it. But we'll keep working on it. Like I said, I don't expect to beat it in the next couple days. Yeah, team to target the weak points. So we'll be doing some gaming this weekend over in Discord. Sounds like a lot of guys have come up with some really cool builds, so I'm definitely looking forward to that. Okay, so here's that cartographer's guile perk I was telling you about. You can just fast travel. You don't have to go to a port then to fast travel and all that. You don't have to go to the nearest event and then travel to the nearest port and all that kind of mess anymore. So you can just go straight to the area. So definitely liking that. I'm loving the fact that we can actually just back out of a mission whenever you've completed it or failed it. Either way, you can just hold your circle here on the Xbox controller or the PlayStation controller and just back straight out of the thing once it's completed. You don't have to sit there and do all that weird crap. So Carpenter, looks like there's going to be a mission over here. Let's see what we have. The Golden Bargain, yeah, that's one that I need for that next tree tier. So this is, jump over and run this here. Let's see. What's it say? Signal to the Iguana rebels hiding at Il Michel. Okay. Now we're going to test this build out here against these other ships and see how it does. This is Il Michel, right? It is, okay. I'm guessing we're going to be heading out. We got to hit that fire area. Yep, the bonfire. Once we get this completed, we can then start adding some extra perk to the weapons. They seem like they're going to do pretty good. Obviously, we want to see what they do when they get fully upgraded as well. But go ahead and get some of this stuff out of the way, and we'll wait to open up some of those things for later with guild marks. So if we could travel to the ship itself. Yeah, we're going to have to exit out the old-fashioned way. It's the Lost Dutchman. Now, I was out in my sloop of war. I've got a sloop of war and a frigate that's level 17s, and they're freaking OP as heck. They do a great job. But like I said, I'm really trying to get me a nice, viable corvette build that I enjoy using. And I like culverins, and I do like the torpedoes. So I figured this would be a pretty good way to play around with it and see what we can come up with. I don't think that's a mission ship, but it could be. There he is. Oh, we're protecting him. Okay, that's my bad. That's a good thing we wasn't doing damage to him, wasn't it? Following you, bud. Following you. I didn't want to stop in front of him. I tell you what, I am super excited about Crimson Desert. That looks like it's going to be such a great game. Comes out next month. There's something hiding behind that wreck. Say that unlucky taunt, that applies toward everything, I believe. Not really sure where we're supposed to go here. He's not exactly leading the way, is he? And that says to stay in the zone. I'm not seeing any zones, so this might take a minute. See where we're at here. Bandari. Where the heck is Bandari? I am not a fan of the new UI. Let's bring up our journal, see if we can untrack it and retrack here. Mission may be busted. There we go. It wasn't given to begin escort queue. I'll just follow you. We're going to go ahead and mark it on the map because I have the worst luck of finding this stuff. Sometimes I have a tendency to get turned around in the water. I know it gives an icon, but if I don't mark that thing, it seems like sometimes you lose it. Now, if you really want to mess with your buddies, you get in that tarot set or the Gilded by Guile and turn your ship basically into one of those ships, and you could run around in fleets and get random people to shoot at you thinking you're some kind of a fleet. Wow, this thing is going like the slowest I've ever seen a Corvette run. See going on by. Catch up to him here in just a moment. Got something stuck to the grill of the boat, man. Get off. There you go. Get out behind this guy and push. Depending on how fast he's coming, I think I might have just shot behind him. It's been a while since I've played around with these bombards. Yeah. Don't be quite as far. A little more, maybe. I do not like the blind spots on large ships. That's really my main gripe. I know we gained some cannon ports, but we got a really bad spot, and every ship will sit in that spot if you give it a chance. So like it's raining outside. Wasn't actually calling for rain till this weekend, but hey, we could use it. I love that they got rid of that cut scene with crew attack. That is one of the best things they've done in a long time on this game. Doesn't break the combat, you know. Seems like it just kind of pull away from the combat, in my opinion. So they've definitely made some positive changes here. We've got a French fleet moving in. Pick this guy here out real quick. Here. Trying to add that taunt perk to these boats. If we get that, let's get that 250 per second hit on there and start knocking some of the stuff out of the water quick. Right there in that blind spot. Jeez, there we go. Weapons to salvage here. Maybe lucky, it looks like. What do we got back here? kicking out that damage per second is just awesome. I love it over there. Kind of like flooding damage, but a little different. Where we need to shoot is right where that daggum blind spot's at to be able to hit them. And when you finally adjust out, that guy will just automatically just stop his ship right dead in the water each time. Alright, so we actually can pull out of here. I just hate to leave the battle with a ship left on the sea. Plus, we're getting some ascended weapons dropping, so kind of want to take advantage of that while we can. There's a few back over here. I want to grab those. Well. Two over there and one right here. I think that blue's going to be an ascended. Maybe. Let's see. Nope. Not ascended, but we'll grab it anyway. Now I am also going to go back over and check the helm here in a minute when we get back over to log. I believe is where we picked this mission up. The reason I want to do that is it was the helm controls were actually down earlier today and yesterday. I was able to run one mission as far as like for my supplies, and after that they've not restarted, so I'm not sure what's going on. Okay, so we ought to be able to jump over here now. I'm telling you, Cartographer's Guile over into Season Journey is one of the first things you can open up very easily and just go down as the center. Right there. That's going to save you a lot of time running around trying to jump from port or trying to jump to a event that's near the port and all that kind of mess. They're getting better with their journey, I think so, personally. Okay, let's see here. Complete that. Now that that's done, guess we're doing a cutscene. Yeah, I definitely won't be putting that on my ship. So we got 5 plate irons, so definitely worth running that. That's pretty nice. Let's dump this stuff into the warehouse real quick. We'll keep the weapons and stuff handy. Because we're going to go over to the blacksmith and salvage all that. So we picked up another missioner. Oh, I didn't mean to ascend. For salvaging, there we go. And don't need any of those there. Salvage. There we go. Maybe we'll get lucky and get some ascension modules out of that mess and can pop another weapon while we're over here. Not looking good for us. 5 modules, 14 upgrade parts. Okay, we'll see if we can do something with 5. I don't think, maybe just that one we can hit the center here. Yeah. Increasing blast range. That's not really what I would like here. I want something that's going to be like the, what's it called? The Raider perk? No. Come on, man. I wish they would fix that. That is so annoying. Yeah, building the vulnerable status. So let's see if we can get that Raider perk kicked in there. Story of my life trying to look for something that never comes up, but maybe when it comes up it'll be a god roll. That'd be worth it. Yeah, I don't need precision patchwork. Nope. Nah. Ooh, boy, we almost passed right by it. There we go. 33%. We'll try to god roll it in later. And then we need, looks like 6 ascension modules to open that one up for roll. We're getting there. Lock parent jar for clues about missing rogue. Now, as far as I know, we're almost to the top here, so it must be over at Rama. No? Well, let's see. There we go. Two crates of midnight. Okay. There's the forgotten candy. Now, before we go over there, I want to change something out here because this beast armor, using it in this situation, just isn't quite what I'm hoping for here. But I think with just a little tweak of the armor, we can have something pretty special up here. So we got available. There's Nova armor. I was hoping it was going to be full rolled out, but nope. It's that living bastion, gives you living metal. I've not tried this thing yet. Let's go ahead and give it a try, see what it does. Wow, that really dropped our ranking down, didn't it? We'll jump back into Nova armor. That's the one that does the explosive radius. Forgotten candy should be down here. Using long guns and basilisks when you beat the second time, yeah. I was looking at some of those Langs maybe throwing on there. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. Just building several builds as we go. Torpedo's been working pretty good with the tentacles and stuff, but if we got enough guys using long guns and stuff, I don't really see a need for me to build it because I don't really use long guns too much personally. If they had it all deck, I could see it, but they do more damage obviously with the shots that you do have with it. But I guess we're gonna be sinking this guy. That gun is box ships. Okay, so archive. Dutchman's Camp. I'm pretty sure it's south of us here. We'll mark it, but maybe we lose our one level. We'll just fight everything on the way down there if not. There we go. Guess we're gonna have to hunt for them. Well, he didn't make it far, did he? Alright, going back to lock with this stuff. Now, when you're running these little missions and stuff, you're actually earning your XP that moves your progression up to the guild leaderboard, guild mark leaderboard here. So that pays out pretty good. That resets every week. So once we hit that gold, we'll have another 1,000. So we're looking at a couple payouts, 700, 800, and 1,000. Then you'll finally get on up into the higher things. But like I say, used to in the past, we would actually complete that leaderboard for the season long before we finished the seasonal pass. And that's not what happened this time. I'm sure it's probably will slow everybody down now that they fixed that stuff, which I guess is good. All right, so then you got the Corvette Connoisseur, upgrade Corvette and unlock its full potential. Hopefully that auto completes there. It did, okay. Okay, then we have Mother of the Deep Sea groans, the Kraken has surfaced, slay the mythical beast. So we're going to go ahead and grab that mission. Maybe we'll get lucky and find a pretty good server. If not, I'm going to have to start coordinating with some of the guys in Discord to find out who's up during the evenings, or maybe get on during the day when some of these guys are on and see if we can hammer this thing out. Make sure our warehouse is, or not our warehouse, but our storage is emptied out. And then I want to make sure I put my proper armor back on. Let's go see if we can kill this thing. It's going to require to change our armor back over. Looks like you get a primeval fang, a masterwork kit, ascension module, and mysterious chest. So maybe we'll get something good in that chest. I don't know. I think it was Obi who'd come in here and said he didn't really get anything. So I'm pretty sure I don't have to track them. I can find them pretty easy, I think. Could be wrong. Not obviously not aiming at me, or it just ain't hitting me. This one's aiming there. There we go. We might actually beat this thing this go around. He's healing me. Ooh. Get washed around pretty good. Alright, respawning back in. I think we might get this guy this time. Get back in zone here. Yeah, we had him down pretty good on health. Definitely need more sharpshooters. Now his head should come in behind me. It looks like we're going into wave 3. Yeah. Shake the heels there. I gotta get out of that front spot right there, man. That is not good. On that reload. Where you get killed right here and all this tentacle smashing going on and everybody's in one little spot. It gets kind of hectic. Dang. We're about 5 seconds away from being able to heal. No big deal. We'll come back in here. It was looking good there for a minute, but then it like re-healed itself, went from about 3/8 health back to 3/4 health. I still think that there's just a couple of servers where this thing's actually possible, but I don't know. Gotta get around them tentacles. I don't know if that just happened there. Focus on some of this stuff on the outside here, maybe. Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking. But I can tell you, it's going to be hard for them to keep people engaged in grinding out anything if it's going to be that specific in running this particular mission. They just don't have enough content to keep people engaged in it, and the content they do have, half the time it's broke. So they'd have to come in and do some rebalance on this thing. Not going to do it with a bunch. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back to dock and heal, and if there's time, jump back over here. I mean, while that monster armor is okay, I would tell you it. Once you run out of brace, you have absolutely no protection against anything on that thing. But it's not much different than any other beast, I guess, when it comes to that. This is what's getting me is the cutscenes here, man. It'll waste 45 seconds of your time. He's gone. This was the end of it. It'll waste a bunch of your time doing the transitions on the scenes, man. Yeah, see, everything's immune now. He's immune, but can continue to smack you down, like I said. If that's what they intended, it's not going to be a very popular mission with folks. Now, I know that they're going to be hiding some of the mythical stuff and all that crap behind it when that finally releases. You're going to have to be forced to do that, but they're going to have to get that balanced in. I believe that's why they pulled the mythic upgrades off the table at the moment, because they knew it was going to be broke. According to the actual uh, notes that they put out, it was specifically said that they realized that a lot of times the hits don't register on it. But I'll take that scene where it comes in there and we almost had it killed going into wave 3, and then it just rehealed itself. I'll be sending that into him. That may be a function of that thing. I'm not sure, but it's good to let them see it and send it to him in the bug reporter. Now I've noticed more sea life around, as far as like different types of whales and stuff too. So hopefully that means at the mid-season point we'll be getting a Hunter's Dow and that Hunter's Guild and all that stuff started. So that was cake during the IPP. I think them if they end up putting that in behind the Kraken and hiding that stuff, just that one event, I don't think that's going to be very popular with the players, which nothing ever is. I mean, that seems to be the ongoing theme, is no matter what it is, it's never quite popular with everybody. But maybe they'll figure something out there. But that's what I'm working on, is torpedo build. I've got a couple ideas of some long gun builds. I know there's a few guys using some ideas, and as soon as they get their posts made up and their videos posted, we'll give you some links to that, guys. But definitely looking forward to the weekend to play this with the crew, because I think if you get enough people that are doing exactly what needs to happen and are calling out where things need to be hit and all that kind of stuff, I think we'll be able to get through this thing pretty quick, even in its current state. Like with anything in the game, it'll start off kind of busted. I know Wolvenhall was hit and miss, but it eventually is pointless to do and add. Yeah, so adding the mythic after the Kraken, yeah, maybe they'll put that stuff in something else. I don't know. We're going to return back to running some of our other ships, so we could stay in this and just switch out our armor real quick. Now what I got to do is get back at some of these ascension marks, which will be over here in Wolvenhall. As much as I've ran that fort, I'm so tired of running Wolvenhall. We need a better viable option to getting those ascension modules. We can build them in our helm, but they have such a really low build-up rate that you got to constantly boost your warehouses and stuff. And that starts to get expensive, especially with the system that was broken here the other day. Let's go over here and check and see if they fixed the helm office. Because I was looking to do some boosting. Looks like we got some materials ready. But when I'd go over for the contracts, they would not show up. Yeah, so like I say, man, they'll take one step forward and 4 steps back, throw something in that doesn't work quite properly the way it should. And then the rest of the stuff, check our registries. Maybe we can run something on the registries here. Yeah, and it's still down too, so maybe they'll get it fixed. I sent in some bug reports. I suggest everybody else do the same. Double check it on your game, screenshot it if it's messed up, or make a video on it so we can get those bug reports turned in. But it's becoming a weekly occurrence. I mean, they'll work on one thing and say that it's fixed and that it was in the patch notes, and then what they've ended up doing is just completely breaking it. Now, I think that the reason that that's happening, I'm starting to think it's intentional. It's because people are starting to build up and get their silver and things like that ready. See what's at the mailbox here. Nothing. Okay, that's good. Check our seasonal journey. I think we might go ahead and start popping up some of these as much as I didn't want to. We gotta get more damage out of this stuff. We got top deck weapons. That'll be for torpedoes. Doesn't look like it's hiding in behind anything there. We'll have to run Roadman Godin later. Take him out. Definitely can't use torpedo build on that because you got to take weak points out. I guess you could use a front bow weapon to do that. Looks like that was the only last piece we needed there. Well, sweet. Check our pass, see what we got here token wise. So one of the things I was noticing earlier today, which we're down to one thing, is I was actually having to jump to do different servers to be able to come in here to my Pinnacle store. And one of the things I've been trying to buy with it, because I've got all the blueprints, is the Tooling's item chest, or item ascension chest. You do get some upgrade parts and ascensions from it, but when you would buy one, you would have to leave the server, go like tier 1, then if it didn't let you buy another one, then go back to tier 2, and you have to sit there and bounce back and forth before it would let me buy another box. And it took a good 20-25 minutes to spend 5 points on these boxes, man. Again, Pinnacle Stores always has been a great idea, but it's always been plagued with some issues. We had some issues when it first released were for, man, it was like for a good chunk of the season, about half of it, maybe 3/4 of the season, wasn't able to purchase anything in a Pinnacle store. It was just jacked up. So, I don't know. It's something where the really cool things that they add into the game, to me, they become a non-start whenever it starts breaking everything else. So, hopefully they'll get that fixed. All right, so we've got to go over here. I'm pretty sure that chest went to a warehouse. But Wolvenhall seems to be working not always correctly. Like I said, sometimes it finishes kind of early. Sometimes you can't finish it at all. The commander actually doesn't show up to queue up into the next thing. And other times the fort's actually tied to his health. So, again, not really working properly, but at least it's working to a degree where we can get some of the materials out of it that we need. Because if this thing goes down, trying to get ascension modules are going to be like pulling teeth with them having removed a lot of level 15 boats out of the game. This corvette just has such a low hull health compared to a frigate. It's not a bad ship, but it doesn't excel really in anything that's making me want to just use it as an everyday ship, to be honest. Kind of close there, ain't you? Now, it looks like the fort may actually be connected to Acti again for a completion, so this is going to be a quick battle, I believe. One of the worst things about it, like I said, not trying to trash the ship, but if a frigate or anything, it could be a small ship, bumps into you with this thing, you could be sitting still, anchored in the bay. It's going to start knocking you all over the place. I've had little badars just touch and send you flying, so if they've got an issue with stability there, just letting you know. I'll probably be switching back into my sloop of war, just from all this mess right here, as you can see. So right here we've got looks like a bark. They just come up, bump you, but you got to stop and pull off because you're not going to push him back with this ship. It's like light in the water, but takes the longest to get moving. It doesn't steer very well. When it does steer well, suddenly it'll get like you've hit a handbrake and you just kick to the right real hard. I'm not really sure what's going on with it. You know, I've done a lot of videos and sent it in. I've sent probably 3 videos in yesterday showing different effects and how this thing works. They were real quick to jump in and fix where the plunders were paying out too many points because you were getting about 6 smuggler tokens every time you run a plunder. Okay, that's how we ended up finishing this pass so quick. They jumped in and fixed that pretty quick once the video went in. But the things that are actually plaguing the game, making it where people like pull away from it, they don't even touch that stuff. Next week we'll get a patch. It'll have promises of these things are being looked at. And what will end up happening is they'll sort of kind of work, but then there'll be a lot of issues with other things in the game. And we can't never get a complete game that works properly the way it should. We did at the beginning of year 2. And that was because they brought in outside help to come in and help get the game squared away. I'm hoping they do that in Season 3. And then what they need to do is the team that's working on this game, they need to fire every single one of them or move them to cleaning bathrooms. And whoever it is that fixes this game, it needs to be the ones doing the programs and development and the future content. Because the crew that's doing that stuff that you see on the deck, one, you can tell they don't play the game. They got in there. They couldn't even beat the Kraken themselves. It took them like 3 or 4 tries in the live stream that they did. If you develop a game and you make the game, you should be able to jump in there and beat this stuff pretty quick. And they'll get in there, you'll start noticing that they're in closed servers where they don't have as many issues as what we have in these open servers. But even then they have some issues. They're like, yeah, we're not really sure why that's doing, but that's not really concerning. If you hired me to, go in and program your PLCs and your controllers, and I walked in, I'm scratching my head, I don't really know why it's doing that. That's not going to instill confidence that I can fix the issue. So I'm not really sure what the heck they've got going on over there, but it's almost like intentionally trying to torpedo this game is what it seems to me like here lately. But it's a fun game. If they will fix these issues, they have a really nice base game. But there's still not really any end game here. Figure Kraken, so Night Fury, who was on here earlier, he's beat this thing twice. There's a couple guys that's beat it at least once. And that sounds like that, yeah, you can do it, but it's going to be like pulling teeth. Well, honestly, unless you're in a gaming community like Banished Souls or something like that, or you got people that you play with, what are your chances of beating it in its current state using randoms? Pretty much zip, nil on that thing. So it's just, to me, I don't want to spend 10 minutes of the game failing something and you almost beat it, then it heals itself. What is causing it to heal? I've not discovered the mechanic yet. It doesn't always do that, but you noticed in that last fight that it was doing that. So I'm not sure what's going on. To me, it's very reminiscent of Wolvenhall, where sometimes you defeat Acti and Wolvenhall completes, or sometimes Acti doesn't show up and you can't complete it, or you'll have to fight the fort and you end up fighting it. You can't even take out the weak points because it just diminishes the health so quickly. So it's not because people are using Padawans or God builds. I've seen so many videos where people like, this build's what you need. They'll be in one of those glitch servers showing you that their ship is really good, but it's really not. That, you know, I wish people would explain a little bit more what's going on within the game. And again, fun to play. Can be frustrating as crap sometimes though. But I'm hoping they get it lined out. But it's going to take all of us as gamers, guys, everyone who's watching the stream now. If you notice something broke in the game or it's not working the way it's supposed to, make a quick video. If you're on a console, I don't know much about PC. I imagine you can do the same thing. But you can do in Xbox or PlayStation. You can actually do a 3-minute recording in the game, and it stays in your console. You can then take that, upload it to like a YouTube or a Twitch, and send that link in over there to the bug reporters, and we might get some things fixed in here. At least it's putting the weight squarely on the developers at that point. So if we're letting them know what's going on and they're getting a large number of issues reported in showing what's going on and they're not able to build it, maybe we could get some folks in there who actually know what they're doing. But it could be that they don't know what they're doing, or it could be that they don't realize it's broke because they don't even play their own game. So how can they realize this thing's got some broken aspects other than waiting for people to let you know? But I can guarantee you, just like with the stream we did the other night, it was showing you what was going on with those manufacturers, how they were paying 6 smuggler tokens each time you would run through that thing. It's not doing that now. So it was pretty quick. Within a couple hours of sending them that video, it fixed it. Now, I had ran through the pass and got 90 smuggler tokens in a period of like 5 hours of gameplay. That's not normal. I know there's some guys say, well, that's pretty normal because you're doing these achievements. The achievements weren't even completed yet. I'll show you that here. Where are you at here? Here's our goals. So as you can see, complete 20 plunders wasn't completed. Complete 40 plunders wasn't completed. The deal 1 million damage for burning types wasn't completed. Earning 80,000 infamy, that wasn't completed. So we didn't get any of the major things done. We did get 10 plunders. So there's 2 tokens, 3, 4, 5. There's 9. Be 14, 15, 16. There's not even 40 tokens worth of things there, and you don't get that much from destroying ships. Like I say, it was broke, and like most things, where if it breaks in the way of the player and it makes life easier on you, they will fix it immediately and get that thing patched in. But when it's something that's broke and it doesn't work right, they will hem haul around that for, it's going on 3 years now. We've got issues plaguing this game from season 1 of year 1. And like I say, I'm just letting people know straight up where it's at. We got a lot of guys that are looking, is it worth coming back into the game, man? For the Corvette, yeah, there's some issues with it, just like there were the frigate. They will get that lined out, I imagine. I don't expect it's going to be next week. It'll probably take them 2 or 3 or a month before that happens, like it was with the frigate. But maybe they can get some of it dialed in. They're going to have to dial some things around on that Kraken because if you're playing with elite players and stuff and you're able to beat it now, that's cool. But a lot of these guys that are in here that you see running around, they're never going to be an elite player, but they should be able to get in there and beat something on it as well. When you throw enough ships at something, we were throwing, you know, entire servers at La Peste and things like that early on, and now you can go in and you can solo them. But a lot of times the mechanics of it's broke. So if you look at Lee or you look at Vikram, there's actually aspects of the battle patterns that's now being cut out. I imagine that's what we're going to see them have to do with that Kraken, if they, or add more time to it, because 10 minutes, I'm not going to keep going in something where sometimes we might be able to beat it, but most of the time it's not going to work properly, or it's going to kick you out without a win. So that's just not something I'm into when it comes to games much. But there's still some things to grind in here, seasonal journey, things like that. That's kind of where I'm at now, is I'm going to grind toward my guild mark so I can get this journey part taken care of. The reason I'm doing that is because I want to be able to come in here and, so we're going to strengthen our hull here. I want to be able to come in here and beat this Kraken. Now, originally I was waiting to see what the actual weapon systems and stuff would do. We're going to do a weapons boost here. Let's check, see what we've got. We've got, don't care about spring loaders, rockets. Auxiliary weapons, we'll probably pop that one up there. There's some reinforced plating and reinforced brace. We'll definitely work on that. So we got to do this Mother of the Deep. So to open this is going to be completing the Kraken. So in order to complete the Kraken, to get these extra boosts, we got to get through that Kraken. So that's going to be one of the things we're going to want to make sure we can get through, and just kind of work our way through this system here. Now we have got a few boosts up here. Looks like most of this is going to be for bracing. This is going to work out pretty nice for us. But if they did half as good a job of making the Kraken work properly, where you can come in here and do a good run on it, as they did trying to get the imagery in the background done properly, that would be nice. Okay, let's see what we got here. We've got 1 point to spin. I want to come over here and test this real quick. Yeah, so we have one. Here's the Tooling Ascension chest I want to get. So I will have to log out or find a new server, come back in, then I can buy another chest. I should be able to buy as many of these as I want. There's not a limit on them. There wasn't last season. If they're putting limits on it, they need to let us know. But like I say, if you could jump around servers and make it work, then that's on their end. And that's kind of where we're at. So, but that's what we got going on, guys. Just kind of working on that grind there. I'm going to hop off here and get me some sleep because, there's no sense in continuing at that Kraken at the moment. And I need a break off of Wolfenhall for the moment because, been running that for 2 seasons now, and it will drive you nuts. You love the live sessions? Yeah, man, I enjoy doing them. I've switched over to my PS5 because it can stream straight to the YouTube channel. And when I ran the Xbox, I was having to use capture cards and all that mess, and it was just creating a lot of issues. We'd lose sound and things like that. So this has definitely made it a lot easier to work with, but. So hopefully they will get this stuff fixed here. Like I said, there are people that are beating this, but like Night Fury had popped in, he come in and he was saying, "Did you have a question?" Oh, well, go ahead and ask it up there, man. But it sounds like he's beat this thing a couple times, which is good. But Night Fury's like what you would call an elite player, man. I mean, he's been at this for a long time, and he usually has a pretty good idea of what he's going to have to do, and he's able to get it completed, but your average player is not going to be at that point at the moment, especially with a lot of these things being hidden from the expansions pack. But if we got some folks who want to ask some questions, go ahead and ask some questions. I don't have to jump off. I just figured people were getting bored with the stream there. Let me jump in here and check our feed here. I may have missed some questions here in chat, guys. I apologize if I have. The side quest about the pearls. No, I didn't have any issues. So what I ended up doing is you pick the pearls up from I believe it's the blacksmith over here in Block Panjara. And then I had to come down here to the Forgotten Candy, and you got to walk up the mountain and all that stuff. There's 2 locations. You pick up some pearls, you pick up a note, and then it sends you down here to fight a mutinied ship. And then from there, you then have to come over here to the Dutchman's camp, and then after you run the Dutchman's camp mission leg, it sends you back up here to speak to. I think his name was Steve, the blacksmith. So, and you have to go run that. I've not had any issues. I just ran through that a few minutes ago, so you should be able to back the video up maybe 10 minutes and check it out, and it should show you how to run through that thing. So I've been kind of running some of these side missions tonight. We got a few left to do. We'll bring up our journal here. Obviously, Lord of the Seas, Spectral Menace, that's going to be the Roadman Goat. Mother Deep, you have to beat the Kraken to open up for the seasonal journey. Here's the help Bagus locate Remo's missing rogue trader. So here's another Pearl mission here, apparently. We're going to go ahead and track this one while we're here. This may be the one you're talking about. Looks like we got to go back to Talak, so let's jump over there and I'll run through this one. Because there's 2 of these missions where you have to get pearls, apparently. And this, I think, is another leg here. So we're going to run up here to Rama real quick. Well, I'm pretty sure it said Rama, but apparently not. It's going to be over here. Blacksmith again. Okay. We've accepted it. It's at the blacksmith. But it seems like it's glitched. So yeah, if this is the one you're talking about, apparently this thing is going to be glitched here. Objective is in World Tier 2. We should be in World Tier 2. Yeah, we're in Tier 2. Well, this is frustrating. Yep, so we'll have to put that in. Shiny Horrors is the name of that mission, and apparently it's bugged. So definitely going to be sending that one into the bug reporter. I suggest everybody else do it. And that way, maybe we can get this thing fixed. I imagine it's going to get fixed next week. I don't expect it to get fixed before the next maintenance. It could. Like I said, typically you don't see them do a patch on the game mid-week. That only happens if it's paying you too much pieces of aid or too many smuggler marks or you're making too much silver or something like that, you know, that's benefiting you in any way. They will fix that stuff really quick. As far as the game itself, and it's got a hokey issue like this, doesn't seem to be working. So I'm not seeing that. Let's go up here and talk to Rama. Maybe they just got a wrong queue here as far as who you need to talk to. She's a very long-winded character in the game. Nope, not there. So yeah, so they've definitely got a glitch in that particular mission there. Let's just double check our cargo and make sure we haven't missed something. I'm not seeing any mission-related stuff in here. We'll check the warehouse real quick too. Those are heads. Imperial cloak. Those are mission items, you can tell from the little skull up there in the top left corner. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. I didn't see anything when we were scrolling, but I'll come back up and just double check. Okay, so there's one other thing we can try with this real quick before we give up on it. Let's go to journal. See if I can cancel this thing. Not gonna let me cancel it. We can untrack. Try this again. Nope. Yeah, send the objectives there. So. But we're going to untrack and see if it'll let us pick it up. Sometimes that'll help too. If you're tracking the mission, it can sometimes cause an issue. Yeah, still not there. We're going to check over at the other blacksmith just to be sure, but it seems like everything's been up to lock, so I don't think that that's what the issue's going to be. But that's a good question there. Unfortunately, it does look like it's messed up there. Oh yeah, no. So when it comes to weapons, basically there's certain things I like to use, and I will equip those on my fleets. And a lot of the other crap, I might keep it handy if it's something that someone will need. If it stacks, I keep it. If it's like got a single ascension mark and I don't intend to use it, I usually will scrap it out for Ascensions. Yeah, no mission here for it either. So that is going to be one of those things that it could be server specific though. So just to be fair with them. So maybe you could switch servers, see if that helps. But it looks like that mission is actually bugged at the moment. We'll fast travel one more time, see if that's going to fix it. Maybe we can take and accept the mission over here from him, and seems like he's got just a basic XP mission. Maybe if we get rid of it, it'll pop in here. It'll force it to load. See what he's got. Hell's Hammer. We'll track that one and see what we can do. Now that we've got that said, he's still there, we can pick up this other mission, but nope. All right, now we can. It's gonna be quicker. I think he's coming over here to Vikram. It's gonna be the quickest way. Now I don't want to do a call to arms. I'm wanting to fast travel. We'll just travel to that convoy and then shoot up north. I don't expect that this is going to clear the bug, but sometimes if you'll jump another mission and come back to it, you can get through it. But 90% of the time, you'll have to wait for maintenance. Yeah, I'm not worried about that event there. I'm guessing this is the convoy here. Get some of these ascended weapons is nice. Now, I might want to put some restoration kits on this boat. Just to have them. I don't know why it tripped that convoy mission. Dispose of his head in shark-infested waters near the ruined lighthouse. Okay, well, let's go find his head. Okay, so restoration kits, if you're on fire or you have a broken sail or something like that, when you hit it, it removes the negative effects on your ship is basically what it is. Doesn't work like a repair kit that actually heals the ship. What they actually do is they repair negative effects on the ship. If you've got torn sails or you're on fire, or you've been taunted, you have poison cloud on your deck, things like that, it'll fix your ship. So. Now I'm going to fast travel here. Then it looks like we'll have to bounce back out. I should have just traveled to sea. I forgot they had that option there. I usually keep about 20 on the ship, but I think I actually discard that. I think I actually removed it from my ship a minute ago when I was moving everything. You pick a lot of those things up. The restoration kits, I've never actually had to build or buy them. I do buy them though. Typically, I just come in and buy everything in the stores. Okay, so now that we have that, we're going to run to the blacksmith real quick. We're going to double check and see if maybe we'll get lucky and that made that mission where we can complete the pearl mission here. Doesn't make sense because it says we have to pick it up from him, but it's already in our inventory. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. That doesn't make any sense to me. Okay. If you'd have caught that pass on right as the servers opened up, you'd probably already be completed with it because it was paying out 6 smuggler tokens per run on that thing. So here's the shiny horrors. This is the one it says we need to pick up. Now I don't see where there's anything on the map that it's telling me I need to go to. There's La Peste, but that's like I say, that's a totally different mission set. It's saying we need to actually go here and talk to the blacksmith. It says we have to accept the precious pearl missions, but it doesn't show one in there. So maybe switching world tiers. We'll try that real quick, and then go back into a world tier 2. We'll look at Blackwood also just to make sure it's not over here. Oop, right there. It's funny because the other mission, I don't remember what it was called. Uh, it had about precious pearls, and we completed it. So we've completed the mission, but it's still showing that it's not completed, even though it's completed. So I think it's just a visual glitch. If you ran that other mission that we ran earlier, yeah. So we picked all that up, and then we dropped all that stuff off earlier, and then it's just I think it's just a visual glitch. We've actually completed that thing, but we're gonna swap tier missions and see if that maybe clears it. We'll have to go back to World Tier 2 before we can actually see what it does. But we'd ran the mission with for the precious pearls. We had to go down to the Forgotten Candy, and we found a body, and we picked some stuff up there. We fought a mutiny ship, and then we had to go back over to what's the name of this place? Oh, we got to pick our daily freely chest up here too. Don't forget about those. Doesn't seem like a lot, but the payouts do get better as you progress through it. I mean, they're not going to be breaking no records with this stuff, I'm sure, from what it looks like. It's just something to keep you logging in every day, I think is what the purpose of it is. So let's see what you get here at the end. 1,000 silver, 400 pieces of 8. It starts to repeat after 80. Okay, now we're going to jump back over here to World Tier 2. Yeah, it seemed like mission ended at Dutchman's camp, and then we end up having to come back to the blacksmith, and we've dropped the pearls off, and then it's just visually glitched that mission. I'm going to check our seasonal journey here in just a second, because I'm pretty sure that was the one that just opened up in the journey. So if we were able to open it, it means the mission's technically done. Very reminiscent of the what was it, Moon Smoke Queen. You would complete the mission, but that would still show the mission visually needed to be completed, even though it had been completed. So. Okay, checking the journal. There's shiny horrors. I don't think it's going to show what the name of that mission was there, but I'm pretty sure it was required for this one here when I opened it earlier, the Blacksmith's Favor. Or it may have been the weapons boost here. Let's check to see, just to make sure. Yeah, it's just a glitch. We'll have to wait for them to fix it, though. All right, there, folks. Y'all have a wonderful day. Appreciate everyone stopping in for the stream. And I'll try to come up with a little bit better schedule for when we're going to do these things. I'm thinking probably it's going to be early for a lot of folks, or late for others, probably around 2 a.m. Central Time. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here for my time. But this was the daily chest and ships. Yeah, they've got a few bugs. Well, they got quite a few bugs to work out here. Ships are reaching level 16. Ships will actually reach level 17 if you fully ascend here. So I'll show you that real quick. So you can see we got like our sloop of war up to a 17 over here. We got a frigate to a 17 over here, things like that. And usually it's just having to get your things god rolled into those 17s. Now, how important that is to run into Kraken. Now, I've taken both of those 17s over to the Kraken and ran with randoms, and we still didn't beat it. Like I said, we've come close a few times, and then it'll like just heal itself up. You get down 3/8 health, and that thing will just heal up to, where you just have a quarter of the damage done to it. So I think that there's some issues with it, similar to what Wolvenhall's been doing, where sometimes it finishes and sometimes it doesn't. So maybe they'll get it fixed up. All right, guys, we will catch y'all later.